It is Wednesday, my dudes.
So as many of you are probably aware by now, the CS Twitter account has tweeted out a very ominous message. They've also made that message their banner, and that's how you know that it's pretty serious. So in this video, I just wanted to talk about some of the things that I potentially think could happen on Wednesday in regards to both CSGO and CS2. And also just in case X Mercy is watching this, no, I didn't copy your list. I sat in a dark room and just thought about this and wrote it down on sticky notes. Anyway, let's get into the video after a word from our sponsor, SkinSwap. This video is sponsored by SkinSwap. So SkinSwap is a marketplace and trading site, and it's got a ton of great features. If you want to swap out some of your old skins for new ones, you can go ahead and use the trades tab. They've got a huge inventory of different items to choose from, but if you just want to instantly cash out your skins, they also have a sell feature that allows you to put your skins in and get paid directly. Or you can even use the site as a regular marketplace, and you can buy discounted skins directly from their inventory. When you use the link in the description, you can get a completely free item, and also SkinSwap offers a 40% deposit bonus. So go check out SkinSwap with the link below. Thanks. Okay, first and foremost, the most likely scenario, nothing happens on Wednesday. There's a lot of evidence to back up that this is going to happen, particularly the last time that they tweeted out that Wednesday was going to have an update. That was when Danger Zone was releasing and it got postponed to Thursday. Valve Time is a real thing, it has a whole wiki page, so the best thing you can possibly prepare for is to prepare to be let down in classic CS fashion. And like was just mentioned, the second most likely scenario is that we get Danger Zone in CS2. This is actually a really cool update for a lot of reasons. I went into it a little bit more in detail in my most recent video, but basically because of the Source 1 engine, there were a lot of limitations placed on Danger Zone in CSGO, so it'll be interesting to see how Source 2 is able to improve on those limitations, and Danger Zone might actually become a lot more expansive and a lot cooler in general. I know that Danger Zone's fan base isn't exactly the largest, but I think on the Source 2 engine, Danger Zone could actually be really cool. I don't think it's beating Fortnite anytime soon, but maybe get a little bit more hyped for it than you normally would. Alright, the next scenario, and this one I think is extremely unlikely, but still ever so slightly possible, which is that we get an operation for CSGO to kind of end off CSGO as we move into CS2. It's basically going to be a celebratory operation that we get for CSGO that kind of gives CSGO a Viking funeral. Now I know the chances of this happening are next to zero, it's just full cope. It would be extremely cool if it happens, but yeah, very unlikely. Now the evidence I have to support that this maybe could potentially happen is that there was a similar sort of event in TF2. It wasn't counting down the end of TF2 or it porting over to a new engine or anything like that, but it was a countdown-based operation. So yeah, admittedly the evidence is pretty weak, but hey, a man can dream. I think if they were to do a sort of end of CSGO operation, it'd be really cool if the collections were based off of some of the most popular maps over time and some of the most iconic ones, like Dust 2 for example. I know we've had like 4 different Dust collections, so I don't really mean a new collection for Dust, but rather sort of a memorial for Dust. Kind of like how the FAMAS commemoration is sort of commemorating CS's history. So yeah, sort of a memorial operation for the unaliving of CSGO could be pretty cool, but again, I highly doubt that it happens. Oh, and one final note about the operation that kind of really just nails the chances of this happening into the coffin is that it kind of doesn't make sense for them to do an operation for CSGO with CS2 being right around the corner. It would make more sense to wait until CS2 releases and then drop an operation at the same time to really amp up the hype of the game's release. Now something that I think is a lot more likely, but is still pretty improbable, is a new case. Again, I don't think this is going to be the update personally, but it's definitely more possible than a full-on operation. But if we were to get sort of a final case release for CSGO, I think they could do a lot of cool stuff with it as well. Like I was talking about with the operation idea, sort of a memorial case, showing off some of the iconic maps, sort of like the P250 Inferno for example, or maybe just giving some of the different items in CSGO one of the more iconic skin releases, like Asimov or Prince Stream for example. Something like that to sort of celebrate skins in CSGO would be kind of cool. Now a piece of evidence that I have that could potentially support a final case for CSGO is that there are so many items in the workshop that were very close to getting released and just never actually saw the light of day in CSGO. Many of these items have not been ported over to CS2 either, so a final case kind of grabbing some of those very popular workshop skins that barely didn't make the cut into one of the previous case releases could be something kind of cool to do. But yeah, in general, they could do a lot of cool stuff with a new case, and although I know a lot of people would be disappointed with the update just being a new case, it's something that I think is at least slightly possible. And one of the more likely scenarios, and personally one of the slightly more boring ones, is the open beta for CS2. Keep in mind that CS2 is not currently an open beta. It's still invite based, and there are still some people that don't have access to CS2. However, the reason that I say this is boring is because it's kind of few and far between for the people that don't have access. They've done so many rounds of invites by now that basically anybody who's played the game meaningfully has access to CS2. We're in sort of a pseudo open beta just because of how many people have access to it. At this point, you'd basically just have to be a brand new player to not have access to the game, if I'm being honest. For those of you that are active players and don't have access to CS2, I'm sorry. sorry, but it feels like you're in the very small minority at this point, and that's why I think an open beta for CS2 would probably be kind of just a mid-update. On that note though, bringing competitive ranks to CS2 could also be something that people would probably be pretty excited for. We already did get the Premier ranks, but because Premier can't do short matches and stuff like that, it's not exactly the same competitive experience that we had in CSGO. Now in the same vein, a full release of CS2 is technically something I see as possible as well. However, I do not think this is going to happen. I'm no game developer, but even I know there's too many issues with CS2 at the moment to go for a full release. It would make way more sense to put it into open beta and then release some patches over time to kind of work out those odds and ends. But you never know. In this day and age, with how AAA companies are, full releases on unfinished games happen all the time. And while Valve has a pretty good track record, I don't think they're completely exempt from it either, so keep the possibility in the back of your mind. Now another thing that could happen on Wednesday is the removal of Paris. This would be such a sad update that the only thing I can really do is show you a clip that kind of describes how everybody would feel about this.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
But yeah, that would kind of be pretty lackluster. Also, I don't personally think they would make a whole tweet and change their banner and that whole kind of thing if the only thing they were planning to do was to remove Paris. And like prior major stickers, I think they'll kind of bundle the removal of Paris with a different update. So maybe we'll get the open beta for CS2 and they'll remove Paris at the same time. They have done some of these bundle updates where they've done updates for CSGO and CS2 at the same time, i.e. the case drop system update. So that'll probably be the most likely scenario, and the removal of Paris might just be part of the update on Wednesday rather than the entire thing. And finally, something that I find to be a very likely scenario, and one that not a lot of people have been talking about, adding capsule unboxings and trade-ups and that kind of thing to CS2. If you didn't already know, if you're playing CS2, you can't really do anything with the capsules that are in your inventory. You can't open them or anything like that. You can only do that in the CSGO client. So Valve releasing the framework to open cases in CS2 and to do trade-ups and that kind of thing, I think it's a lot more possible than some of the other stuff on this list. Again, I think a tweet and a banner update is probably a little much for an update like this, but it's definitely possible. And if you're not hyped for an update like that, then that makes sense, but do consider we could maybe get that trade-up contract back that we had in the old days of CSGO. And personally, I think that would actually make a lot of people pretty happy. So that's my list of potential updates on Wednesday. Some of these are definitely a lot more possible than others, but I wanted to kind of give a balanced list of all the different possible combinations and things like that that I think could happen. If you've got other theories, be sure to go ahead and drop them below. It'll be interesting to see how well this video ages when Wednesday and Thursday come along, and we see what the actual update ends up being. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like on it. Helps me immensely and costs you absolutely nothing. Subscribe to the channel for the best CS investment tips anywhere else on YouTube. Go ahead and check out my Discord and my Twitter with the links in the description below. We have an amazing community over there, and I'll answer all your questions completely free of charge as long as I have time. And be sure to check out SkinSwap with the link in the description below. Thanks guys, see you next time. Peace.